Good evening, good evening, good evening to everyone currently watching. Welcome. Round number 4 of our Porsche Sprint Cup series. And apologies that we have missed a couple of weeks of the racing due to my PC overheating. Then I was away for business for the last 2 weeks, but I am back. Round number 4, and I'm really looking forward to giving everyone a great show. Sprint series here this evening. 2 races. One will be in like mid-afternoon, which is generally set on the Saturday afternoon, and then we hit a evening race on the Sunday, which definitely does change the conditions up a little bit, as well as braking markers, tire pressure. Everything starts coming into play. So the stream is up and running, and we have some guys that are currently joined on the stream. We've got Tsoki saying yo 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 peeps. Talks, how's it? My rig was set up. I'll be begging to let you would have just been able to join, Talks, don't worry, just gooi there. I've got Tyron Marburg saying evening Dill, evening Tyron. Tyron racing under the codename Rebellion on a Monday night, and if you saw that, we did see some major crazy racing on Monday night on our Project Cars 2 series, and that is our world tour that definitely has been shaking things up in terms of the racing. Guys changing different cars, different tracks every week, so that has been very interesting. But here we are racing at Monza, one of my favorite tracks of all times, and people think that it is an easy track. It is not, and that's because you are so reliant on making sure that you get your exit speeds correct, and once that exit speed is done, that's where your lap times start coming down. So quite a tricky and technical track, to say the least. See, Gerard Vosloo, hoe gaan het meneer? Long time. Karting season starting on the 6th. I hope that you're going to come and gooi with us. Just having a look at some of the drivers lineup. We've got Jakes, who's up on the top now. It's a 1:52 for him. Sly Pete 2.6 seconds behind him. Morris, he's now decided to go out onto the track. That's Duncan. 0.1 off Jakes' time there. That's a great effort there for him. We do have Morris currently in shot. We've got Mufera racing with us on a Monday night as well. Then a newcomer, but I say newcomer, but he has raced a few times with us. See, Membo saying wish he could race. He's not feeling well this evening, and Peter Heidemann currently in the pits saying enjoy boys. Membo not feeling well. Mem get better there. Rest well, old cousin. Ati in 4th place. He's attacked that curb very hard. But the car definitely looked a little settled over the curbs there, so I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Lots and lots of drivers in the pits, and there were quite a few guys out on track, so this is going to be quite an interesting qualifying, because each driver only gets a 1 lap flyer. So here we've got Armand. He's now gone past, so he's going to be doing his flying lap. Very much in the Golf colors, quite like that livery, even though I am a green guy myself. And I think that is James in 7th place, driving I think the livery between James and there we go, Duncan is the same. Oh, I got that wrong, apologies. So Ati on his flyer now. So we do have only 3 drivers that have put in a lap time for now. It's Morris now attacking the first chicane, and it is vitally important to make sure you hit that braking marker, because these cars are so tricky to slow down, and it doesn't have any of the ABS or the traction control like the GT3 car, So you're always on edge. I must say that I did struggle a little bit in the practice when we were testing out the cars initially. But I do think for 4 weeks in, the drivers now do have a lot better understanding of the car, what it's going to do, which is definitely going to make the racing a lot closer and tighter this evening. So we've got James now coming through Parabolica. He's going to set himself up to cross that start-finish line. So James now on his flyer. We've got Arman, who has just been knocked down because now Jakes goes, Atti goes first with a 1:51.9, dropping Jakes down 0.45 of a second. Duncan in third place, Armand 2.5 seconds further down off the leader, and he puts him in a fourth. Sly Pete, he's 3.1 seconds off the pace there. So Morris now coming through Parabolica. We did see him on his outlap before. Morris crosses the line. Where does that put him? That puts him fourth. So the only person who is still out on track is James, currently in 8th place. Tyron saying that Mass can tell you all about the chicanes. Yes, it also tells you how to get ahead of your opponent. Sorry guys, that was so bad, but I did laugh to myself inside. So qualifying is now officially over, so it will only be James who will need to cross the start-finish line, and that will then get him up and running. So we've got Armand that's joined us on the live stream. Armand, how are you, and welcome to SARCO. So James will now across the start-finish line, and that puts him up into 4th place. So that is how the starting orders will start off. We'll have Atti in 1st place, Jake 2nd, then it is Duncan, James, Marius, Armand, Pete, Gav, Mafira. Oh, I had his name and I've just lost it. Give me a second. Gareth, there we go. Gareth in 10th place, then Ashley 11th, Ronaldo in 12th, and then Dylan all the way down in 13th place, but just being there as a pace car. So that is the end of the qualifying. Just having a look to see if anyone else has joined us. Toxu saying, yo, War Machine. Don't see him. So we're just going to put the camera on Duncan so we do get a view of the start.
30 seconds.
Arman, I've just muted your mic here because I was just getting a bit of feedback in the background there. If you'd like to stick around and stay in the Discord, you're more than welcome to. You're just going to have me talking to you in your ear the entire time.
10 seconds.
So on the start it will just be a short lineup. The guys will basically come down the back straight, come around Parabolica, and from there cross the start finish line and they will be racing. 20 minutes is the time, no pit stops required. It is just a 20-minute sprint to the end. So the drivers line up 2 by 2, approaching the start finish line, and as soon as we get there you can see Duncan how close he's got himself up behind Atti. So that should be a green light. There we go. So we are officially racing. 11 cars are screaming down the start finish main straight. Now into the first chicane. Hard on the brakes, just past that 200 meter mark. 150 is too close. The car's out of control there. Little bumping in the background there, and some cars are going off. It looked like he had touched the grass on the outside, and a big spin around there for him. There is a car still in the background there. It looked like he wasn't able to get going. So Atti is now out in front. Tara, and that is 100% correct. It is on PS4. It is Sesto Corsa Competizione. And Atti is away with Jakes in second place and James in third. Gav Pig, he's made up a lot of places there. Because Gav Pig was, I think, down in about 7th or 8th place, and he's now got himself up into 4th. So half a second between Gav Pig and James at this point. And I'm pretty sure that Gav will be wanting to close up that gap between himself and James ahead of him, because he's going to be using that toe to get him closer to the drivers up in front. We then got Duncan, who's closing up on the back of Ronaldo. And looking at the position, it looked like Marius was the car stuck on the outside there. So the car that had touched the grass on the outside on the brakes, unfortunately did create a bit of a pile-up going into that first chicane. But now side by side, and Duncan has really put himself in a great position. He's just going to make it very, very difficult for Ferrer on the outside, but they're going to see who has the guts here on the brakes, and both cars braking at exactly the same time. They're going to go too wide, and that's what we want to see. But now Ferrer losing the rear on the power, and that's allowed Duncan to get himself away there. Oh, apologies, that was Ronaldo, not Ferrer. Now jumping back to the leaders, 17 minutes into this race, and Jake starting to close up on Atti. You can just hear how cautious they are on their power coming through the second of the Lesmos. Now into Ascari. And this is where it could be make or break. As you can see, Jake's that car just twitching as he touched the curb on the inside. Had to get that car settled for the right-hander. Ooh, Atti touching that grass. So it's 16 minutes left, and we have Atti out in front. Jake's closing him up 0.7 of a second. Then James, he's 4 seconds behind, with Gav half a second behind James. Oh, a little mistake there. Loss of the rear for James, and that pushes him into Gav Pig. Gav Pig is now able to get himself away. And Gareth in 5th place. He's now been able to get himself ahead of James, which now puts him up into 4th, and that now promotes Sly Pete into a 5th position. Oh, little moment there for James once again in the background there. We saw that the car just over rotating as he went into the left-hander of the second chicane at Della Rogga. James is wide again. He just doesn't seem to be comfortable here this evening. We jump back to Duncan, who's looking to close down on Armand. Duncan really attacking the curbs there, hitting both of the inside curbs as he went through Ascari. James getting the advantage of the toe going down the back straight. But now he should be experiencing a bit of understeer as he comes through the parabolica. You can see how his car just went a little bit wider than what Armand's one had done. But now opportunity, will he be able to just put a look on the inside into the first chicane? Not close enough to make a move there. But now within 0.3 of a second is Duncan between Armand ahead. And Armand closing up onto James as well. 1.2 seconds is the gap there. So it looks like these three might be contesting a little bit closer, a little bit on as Armand goes way too deep. And it looks like Duncan had followed him. And there we see Morris in the background. So he's starting to close up onto these drivers ahead of him. What he would be looking to do is maximizing on some of those points here, get himself up into 6th place so that he takes advantage of the reverse grid for the next race. So Duncan now within a striking distance once again. Just want to see if there's a move made as they go into parabolica. Then I want to jump to the leaders up in front there, because Jakes is still within half a second of Atti. Little flash of the lights there for Duncan as he puts a nose on the inside, but not close enough to make a move. But Armand goes a little bit too deep and opens that door, and that allows Duncan to go through with ease as we just missed the overtake there. Jakes on the brakes into the first chicane. He's now been able to move himself up into 1st place, and we've got Gav, who 4 seconds behind, is going to be looking to close up on these guys ahead of him. So Atti was really close on the exit coming out of the 2nd chicane. And just so patient, both of the drivers waiting for that right moment to get that power on. Because as mentioned before, no traction control in these cars, no ABS. It is all just pure throttle and brake control. So even though Jake's got himself ahead, Atti is not letting him get away. And I see that Gav is now broken down close to that 4 seconds. So he's made up 0.3 of a second between these guys currently. And Morris now 2 seconds behind Armand. So Morris is now found 0.4 of a second there. So he's definitely bringing the challenge to the guys ahead of him. Looks like Atti just understeered a little bit going through parabolica. On the brakes, Jakes takes a nice tight line. Atti was on the outside. And you can see Gav Pig losing out there. So that gap was 4 seconds, is now 4.5 seconds. So it looks like these two, even though they're battling ahead of him,
Keep it up,
they have still been able to hold their pace ahead of Gavin. So we have just gone past the halfway mark. We heard the halfway call, and that was at the 10-minute mark. So Morris looks like he has made up some places there. Oh, as two drivers go very wide going into the first of the Lesmos. And that is, just look in the background there, so that is Armand. It looked like it was James, but we'll find out now once they go past the split, and the positions will update. So that is Marius now up into 8th position, and you can see the damage on both sides of that Porsche. So Duncan still battling with James. Morris 6.2 seconds behind this battle. And James getting very, very far out of the way of Duncan to not allow any slipstream advantage. And I see the leaders have changed once again. That was Ati now back into the lead, and there's gap pick. 2.7 seconds is the gap now. So this is going to get extremely close as the minutes start ticking down here. Ati being able to take that lead back from Jakes, and now gap pick coming to the party. Jake's attacking the inside curbs through Ascari and really hitting that one on the exit. And you can see Jake's in the slipstream. Gav nearly within that 2-second time. Jake's applying that pressure on Ati all the time, hoping for a mistake. It looks like Duncan might have made just a little mistake there, because that was about 1 second was the gap there, but it does look like he was a little bit further down. So while we watch this battle for first, second, and there's third place in the background there, that's Gavin. I am also keeping my eye on the battle where Duncan is now within that second of himself and James. And once you get within that second, that's when you start getting the additional benefit of having that slipstream. You do get the straight line speed advantage, and that does look like they're going to be very closer, because that was all of a sudden it went from 0.9 of a second down to 0.3. So Duncan is really applying that pressure now. And Marius was 6 seconds behind this battle. He's now dropped down to 8 seconds, so not sure whether there was a mistake there. We have got 5 minutes left and Atti and Jakes are really battling it out here as Jakes tries to go a little bit wider, but he's going to try the cutback. Coming through Parabolica, that time between Gav and Jakes, that was 1.6 seconds, is now 1.5 seconds, so he's only managed to gain 1/10 of a second. Oh, a little moment there for Atti. You can see that car almost over-rotated, which is now going to allow Gav to get even closer. And it looks like Jakes just might have braked a little bit more. So Gavin is very much in this fight with 4 minutes left. We should be able to get in another 2 laps. So Gavin still has a chance here to get himself atop of the podium. Oh, mistake there by Jakes. That car just snapping on him. Two laps left to go. Morris now gets himself into 7th place, but he was there, but now that gap was 8 seconds, is now 6.9 seconds. And we have got James, who's now dropped down to 5th place. Duncan in that 99 car, he's now moved himself up into 5th. Ooh, was that a little nudge on the rear of Duncan as they went into that braking zone? But this is where it is all happening, and we missed it. It looks like Jakes kind of out-braked himself and decided that he needed to go through the escape route. Because now here's a loss that time between himself and Atti, and Gav now half a second. Oh, Gav has a little moment coming off the curb there. It will be this lap and 1 more to go to the end of this first race. Gav really pushing as hard as he can, using all the runoff there. It looks like James and Duncan have changed positions once again, because they put James up into 5th and Duncan in 6th, but Duncan is actually ahead of James. So I just need to jump back to the leaders as I jump through to Atti. He makes a mistake, and that now releases both Jakes and Gav ahead of him. So this is now going to be the final lap or drive-through penalty there for Ronaldo. And I can only assume that is because of way too many track limits.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Absolutely heartbreaking there for Atti. He's been leading for a majority of the race, and it just shows you how quickly things can go wrong, and when they go wrong, it goes wrong in a bad way. So Morris gets himself up into 7th place. At 3 seconds is that gap, and I think that it is just a little bit too late for him to get himself up into that 6th place unless something drastic happens out in front. But Gavin is making Jake's life very, very difficult. Getting his maroon Porsche all over the back of the colors of the silverback. little white flag there to show somebody that there's a slower driver in front. I'm not sure whether that was for Gav to say that Jakes is a slower driver. Who knows? But here we go through Ascari. There's going to be one opportunity for Gav, and that's to go into the braking zone before Parabolica. And if he is brave enough, will he have a dive? But Jakes is weaving left and right to not give him that toe. All Jakes needs to do is just get that car slowed down enough to get it turned in, get the power on.
The leader, he's finished the race.
So that concludes that. That puts Jakes out in front. Gav Peg in second, Ati in third. Very, very disappointing there for Ati, but I'm sure that he... You can hear Gavin in the background asking what happened there. So the final results gets Jakes in first, Gav second, Ati in third, Gareth in fourth place, Duncan fifth, James sixth, Marius fought back there for a seventh place, Pete is in eighth, Mafira ninth, Ronaldo 10th, and we have Armand down in 11th position.
Well done, Jake. Kevin.
So the starting lineup for the next race will be James in first place, Duncan will start off second, Gareth will start off in third with Ati fourth, Gav fifth, Jakes in 6th, Marius in 7th place, Pete 8th, Mafira 9th, Ronaldo in 10th, and Armand down in 11th position.
Yes, Jake, mooi man.
Dankie Marius. Yes, maar as dit is vir Springbokkie was, raak ek gemaak het was ek tweede.
Ja, ek was hier laat. Iemand het my binne in my motor gery daar.
Ja. Ai, stop.
Ai, my car was gespeeld voor en agter die hele ry. En al daai pas lekker terug.
Kom maar, daar is tweede reis.
So guys, we're just waiting for the session to end off, and the guys will just have a little 5-minute break there, which will just give everybody acclimatized to which positions they will be starting, and then we will be going into the second race.
Yes, I guess, jy was vanaf aanval.
Yes, ek het toe gehad jy is onder die was net chaos
Iemand het my was.
So Armand, I'm just checking, are you still with us here in the Discord?
Yeah, I've also got some damage.
So welcome to SARCO. We haven't formally met each other yet, so welcome. Difficult race for you there?
Yeah, it was, yeah. You know what happened? I didn't feel correctly, so...
Oh,
But,
goodness. Oh, so you started on the quali fuel and that was part of the problem?
Yes, what happened, Aki? What happened?
It's just my computer is bloated out.
Yes, I can hear you.
oh yeah, I said I was still on my quali field there. Just thought we off guard there, but yeah, I'll be ready for the next one.
No, 100%, because you had some really awesome battles up in the front there, and then as all of a sudden you went missing. We didn't quite see where you had gone.
And I'm going to make up for it next time.
Awesome. So you know your starting position. Unfortunately, you will be starting from the back,
Okay.
but you will be able to fight your way back up because you definitely did have some good pace there.
Great stuff. Thank you.
Awesome. Enjoy it. Alright guys, if you have just joined us, we have finished the first heat of the Porsche Sprint Cup. We have, in terms of the results, we had Jakes who came home in first place. A very unfortunate little mishap there for Atti, going through a scorey with 2 laps to go, and that allowed both Jakes and Gav to go through. Gav came home in a second place, having started well down the order there. And an incident on turn number 1, we saw a little yellow car on the outside just touching the grass on the brakes, and that unfortunately pushed him off and back onto the track into some of the other guys. We had Gareth finishing in a 4th place, Duncan in 5th, James in a 6th with Marius 7th, Pete down in 8th place, Mafira, he finished off in 9th, Ronaldo in a 10th. And we heard there from Armand, unfortunately running the wrong fuel load, so having to go into the pits, get that sorted out. But he did say that that would be ready to go for the next race. We do just have a 5-minute countdown, and that was so everybody knows. Oh no, that's not the one I wanted to do. Just wanted to return to garage. There we go. And then we'll be going racing, but now the time progression will be basically set to a Sunday night at 11 o'clock, so it will be darker. The brake points that the drivers would be using now will have to be updated. And love face, we don't need to satisfy anybody. We satisfy ourselves by racing here on a Thursday night, so please go away. Thank you very much. I see Duppy's joined us saying, Lekker Jakes. Well, how's it, Duppy? I hope that you're well, sir. Looking forward to seeing you getting behind the wheel soon. Come, it's been way too long. It's time for you to come race with us again. So, Tyron, I hope that since knowing that this is on a PS4 that you've already begun your download, and we'll see you for next week's race. So just 2 minutes left of this inverted commas qualifying, and that's because the drivers know the positions that they need to be in. James will do a full a lap with Duncan behind him, then it will be a Gareth followed by Atti, Gav, then Jake. So top 6 do a reverse grid, and since we've done this, it definitely has made the racing up front very interesting. And that's how you try and be clever, Duncan, and try and show off in front of the world, and you go and bin it right into the wall. Congratulations. So guys, if you are still on the stream, let us know who you're going to be supporting for the next race between Gav, Atti and Jakes. It could be anybody's race, considering they're going to be starting in similar positions, because we're going to have Marius behind Jakes and Gav, and I wonder whether he could use one of them to be pulled through the field. We also saw that Gareth finished in 4th place, so he also had the pace, and it could just be that he needs just somebody to go a little bit faster than him ahead of him. and be given some lines that he could possibly learn from? And will there be an absolute I almost said a bad word on the live stream, but will there be 4 racers up in the front now battling for their podium and not just the 3? That would be absolutely fantastic. So that's the end of that qualifying. We are going to be going racing. So Tsoki said that he's just called Gav and they both agree that this is his. So we now see who Talks is now supporting.
Yeah, I'm in 7. That everybody knows where they are.
So we should be getting ready to race any second now. We just heard the drivers just confirming, does everybody know where they are? So there we go. It is now a night racing here. Round number 2. So just listening to the guys, they obviously did not realize the time progression. So now there's panic stations in terms of getting those tire pressures updated.
30 seconds.
Okay, 20
seconds. 10 seconds.
No, I want to get out of this menu. So we're just going to wait for the guys to cross the start finish line. Then they will go and get themselves into the correct positions. And at that point I will be able to change the camera views. You see a bit of panicked voices in the background there saying, oh goodness, it is at night. Yes, it should always be at night.
Green light, show them where you go.
Come in, even transform my last year terrace. Please come.
So the guys are in their current positions. They can start just increasing the pace, making sure that they keep that tire pressure up, keeping the tires warm, keeping the brakes warm, because the last thing you want to do is come into the first chicane with those brakes cold. It definitely does not work out for you. See James talking to the guys saying, let's go, we got to keep going, we got to keep these tires warm. So James leads the way here. He will be the pole sitter, followed by Duncan. Ronaldo is in third place, really.
Kijk, sorry, laatste vraag van het allemaal op back. So back, sorry.
So I do have Ronaldo starting out of the wrong position. Now Ronaldo should be down in 10th place, but it seems like he's got himself in third somehow. Unless they've got it mixed up with RA. I think that might be what had happened there. But it looks like everyone's happy with where they're currently starting, so we'll go racing now.
I guess after Ati.
So we are now racing, heading down the main straight, going into the first chicane. I just hope that the guys just... whoa, big lunge there for Duncan. So now they go too wide between James and Duncan, and everyone is now safely through there. Duncan runs a little bit wide coming out of the first chicane, which now has... so I see Ronaldo down in a 6th place, so that is... seems that... was that where he should have been? But now Gareth up into 3rd. Now into the 2nd chicane. Oh!
Yeah.
It looked like there was a bit of a lock-up there. Somehow that Gareth went a little bit sideways, and both James and Duncan went off together. So James now leads out in front, or someone running very wide there in the background. Was that Jake's? Didn't quite see another car running wide through the second of the Lesmos. We now have Ati up into 3rd place. We've got Gareth dropping down the order. He's now moved down into 7th position. Oh, sorry, apologies. Now down in 9th position, so definitely losing out there. Jake's in 4th, Gav in 5th, Morris in 6th. And I'm sure Morris is a lot happier in terms of where he is now, because he can just latch onto the back of Gav and be pulled across. Pulled through the field. But James and Duncan doing very well out in the front here. Starting to just get a little bit of breathing space between themselves and Ati, because he's got Ati, Jakes, Gav and Morris. All 4 of those drivers are looking to close that gap between them. So Ati will now go into those brakes into the Lesmo. You can see some congestion a little bit further back there. There we go, that's who I was looking for, because it is very close now between Jakes, Gav and Marius. And then Jakes now just about 1 second behind Ati. And a nice little battle happening at further back, and that is between Gareth, Ronaldo and Pete. But now Jake's 0.2 of a second behind Ati with Gav in tow. Will Gav be able to get the look on the inside going through Parabolica? Duncan was a little bit wide through Parabolica. Oh, is that Gav? Yes, Gav running a little bit wide. That's going to possibly give him a warning just in terms of that, making use of those track limits. Is Jake's close enough to have a look on Atti? No, he's not. But now Atti has been able to really close that gap onto the back of Duncan. Both Morris and Gav getting the first chicane a little bit wrong. But I think instead of colliding into each other, they just both straightened up. Big outbraked himself there. It was Morris, I think. Yes, it's Morris now rejoining. So he is still in a 6th place. Jake still trying to close up the gap between himself and Atti. Gav in a 5th position. Morris now 2.2 seconds further back after that little mistake. But we've got James out in front. 1.3 seconds is that gap between himself and Duncan. And Duncan has just a little bit of breathing space, 2 seconds between himself and the 3rd place Atti. And it is another battle of the titans between Atti and Jakes. And there we see Gav 1.2 seconds. Atti looks a little bit wide, where he just went in a little bit deeper just to try and tighten up that exit. Into the brakes, onto the first chicane. Oh, was that... no, it wasn't Jake's. I think it was Gavpig who went in very deep, so he had to take the runoff. So Jake's now will have a 2.2 seconds over Gav. But now what has happened is that put Morris now within a second of Gav. So that pressure is going to be mounting. Duncan applying a lot of pressure there. It looks like James has now gone off, which has now released Duncan out in front. That's going to put Atti in 3rd. And James looks like he's down in 4th place now. So that is now the battle for a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th place. Side by side as they come into the Ascari braking zone. Duncan on the inside. That's 3 wide through there. I don't think it's going to work, but somehow it is.
We're at the halfway mark.
Halfway mark. Atti now takes the lead out in front with Jakes in 2nd, Duncan in 3rd, James in a 4th place with Morris in 5th, Gav in 6th. So the first 6th place is separated by 3 seconds. James running a little bit wide through Ascari. But we have Jakes out in front now with Atti in 2nd place. Duncan is 3rd. James is 4th. Morris in a 5th. Gav in 6th. And this is the battle for 1st, 2nd and... I say 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. But this is the battle for the first half of the grid. But while this is going on, there's still this little battle further down. That is for 7th, 8th and 9th. And that is Armand, Pete, Ronaldo. And then a little bit further back is Gareth. But let's go back to the front. Oh, Atti is a little bit too deep there. Mistake there for Duncan. Just over rotating. So that's put him up on the wall. So he's going to be out of this battle. And he might get very much caught up with the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th place. car in the background off, and that's going to be up against the wall. I'll say, was that Morris? It wasn't Morris. Was that Gav? So that must have been Gav, because we've seen he now has retired to the pits. Big moment there for Gav. Going wide on the grass, then touching on the sand. As soon as he tried to come back across the track, no grip and straight into the wall, and that is unfortunately a retirement there for him. So that now leaves a 4 up front, with Ati being chased by Jakes once again, and Marius in 3rd place, 2 seconds behind these guys, and James now getting a tow. Morris now going to the outside. Is James close enough to have a look into the first chicane? He decides not going to have a moment there. So James in 4th place. Let's just jump back, because we've got Pete in 5th. Then it is Duncan, Armand, Ronaldo, and these guys all very close together once again. I must say, this race has gone by so quickly. Only 6.5 minutes left to go as Duncan hits the curb, but so does Armand. So Pete is leading this little battle here for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th place. Well, Mafira just a little bit further out of this pack. But it does just show you how close this racing actually is. Sprint racing is almost what it's all about. So back to the front, and it is Morris and Jakes now very close together. Looks like they were just going past a back marker there. Or was that James? It was James. So somehow James had got himself right up there between Morris and Jakes. That makes more sense now, because it is Morris has now got himself ahead of Jakes, and that could be what it slowed the guys up a little bit. Except Jakes might have just made a little mistake that allowed Morris to get right up there, but Morris having to slow down, which then got James involved with that as well. So the battle here in the midfield is still very on, as there's a spin in the background. So Ronaldo unfortunately are going for a little spinneroo there. So 4.5 minutes, so just about 2 laps to go, plus the rest of this one. So this race has been extremely action-packed. It has been very exciting as we watch Jakes losing it going through a Scari, and he unfortunately putting it into the wall on the outside, so he's going to be dropping down the order, which now is going to promote James up the order. Just want to see where Pete is in comparison to Jakes. So Jakes now going into the braking zone there at Ascari. And that is Pete and Duncan coming on the exit of Ascari. So they're going to be about 6 or 7 seconds behind Jakes. Oh, Duncan going very, very deep there. Oh, Pete's rotating it all the way around, coming on the exit. So that's going to cost him some places now. Saw Gareth in the background taking the little escape road there into the first chicane. But that gets him up into 7th place nevertheless, with Pete going, rotating there. Oh, Pete's just overdriving that car now. Oh, little kick of the rear as Gareth gets back onto the power there. So Atti now 3 seconds is the advantage that he now has over Morris, who's currently in 2nd place. And just looking at these results, they definitely are a little mixed up this evening. So this will be the final lap. Your race leader Atti goes into the 2nd chicane. Do see a little battle developing here, and that is Mafera closing up onto the back of Sly Pete. So Atti coming down the back straight. Just want to see if there is going to be an opportunity here. Very close is that a yellow car of Mafera, looking for an opportunity to get himself ahead of Sly Pete. But now Atti, he will come and across the line.
Alright, man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
So just managing to get another lap in there. So that was absolutely incredible. So this is now the final lap. Oh! Just as I wanted to see what was going to go on there, both Pete and Mafera go sliding off together.
Dude, honestly. Really?
We heard that come through on the stream that Pete was not happy with that, so not sure whether it was a tag going into that braking zone. But now Morris still has an opportunity now as they go through the 2nd of the Lesmos. Atti's got one more corner, but Morris looks like he got a really good exit there. But Atti defending on that inside. So Morris might be able to try the outside, a wider line, and carry some more speed, possibly around the outside as Atti goes a little bit too deep on the braking. And Morris is now going to try to squeeze up on the inside. They're going to be a side by side as they cross the line, and let's see who will get there first.
Finished the race.
I cannot believe it. They crossed the line at 0.000, but it has given Ati the win. That is absolutely incredible. That puts James in second place, Jakes in fourth. Duncan comes home in fifth place. Armand, he'll bring it home in fifth, followed by Gareth in seventh place. Mafira, he comes home in eighth, with Pete in ninth place. Or Pete in eighth, Mafira ninth, then Ronaldo in 10, and Gav Peg unfortunately retiring earlier on. So absolutely crazy finish there. I've never seen an actual dead heat like that. So we'll definitely have to send that one up to the stewards to go and figure that one out.
Yes. That was absolutely awesome.
I've never seen that before. 0-0-0. That's a first.
That was very close. Well done. Nice one there. I had a couple of nice races in this race.
Well done, boys.
Okay, guys, we're just going to get the drivers in who are basically sitting on the top of the podium.
Can you hear me, Dylan?
I can hear you, my Jakes. Let's just get the correct screen up here so that everyone can see how hard you worked for this. Right, guys, welcome to the Podium Interviews. We're going to start with you, James, third overall for the evening. But man, oh man, what a crazy race. Good result there for you in the first race, and you kind of just kept it consistent. But then out in front, it just seemed like you got absolutely swamped in that second race, where you had Jakes, Ati, Gav, and Marius all chasing you down.
Dol, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Am I there?
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's probably the first race where it's the first race where I could keep up with Three Musketeers, which is obviously Springbok. So yeah, I would probably say the first race was good. There's a little bit of an incident which made me fall back. But now looking at everything, it was actually to my advantage to a certain extent because it gave me the opportunity to start in pole.
Yeah, 100%.
And I was quite surprised that I was 5 laps in, I was still in front. And then obviously there was another like small incident which put me back. But then unfortunately, I don't know if Jake's hit the curb a bit hard. So fortunately for me, I could miss him or avoid him, which it just brought me back to third again. But I think the darkness and everything that went with it was probably it was one of the most exciting races. And the nice thing is, we all know Monza. It's basically it's the back of our hands. So
yeah, exactly.
The opportunity, yes.
No, absolutely awesome. Let's go to you, my Jakes. So second overall for you. A great evening for you. Lots of battles, and you spent a lot of time behind that yellow Porsche.
Man, Atti is my new nemesis, I'm telling you. He gave me a good dice. Yes, a good race. Atti, well raced there, very clean. The first race, it was. I was in front twice, and Atti was in front twice, and luckily for me, a lap and a half before the end of the race, Atti made a mistake on exactly the same place where I made a mistake on the second race.
Yes.
I spun out, and my tires were just going off so quickly with this darkness that you've put us into. Sure, my tires were so cold, no grip. I was trying to keep up with Atti again there, and I saw my teammate coming very strongly behind me, and I let him pass me because I could see that he was much faster than me. So I made that mistake, and James came past me again, and I had a lot of damage. So I was just trying to keep it, till the end of the race and not lose another position again. So, but well done to you guys, man. Well raced.
Yeah, your teammate Morris actually finished 4th overall for the evening, and the points were just so different because obviously we had Gav that was right up there, and then with him hitting the wall very hard coming out of Ascari, that was an instant retirement there for him. So it definitely shook the points up. But let's go to you, Atti. Man, oh man, that green and gold Porsche held on the pressure. One little mistake basically cost you 2 places, but then you're able to redeem yourself and come back for the win and take the overall.
Yeah, look, I don't know, that Ascari bit me out of the blue. I think just took a little bit too much curb tires, a little bit worn or something, but I was just happy to keep it on the road. So, but yeah, second time around I made it stick. Almost didn't work out because I saw something happen behind me, and I suddenly had a 3.5 second gap, and I started taking it easy, and before I knew it,
there was a Morris on you.
Looked him. I couldn't believe the rate he was catching me. My tires was a bit cold, but yeah, look, this Porsche is not built for night racing. It felt like I was struggling to see the brake markers. It really was a difficult.
What do you mean? Have you not seen the amount of lights that are on this thing?
Yes. I don't know. I don't know. Those brake markers was just too high. Something.
And then you with you guys crossing the line there, I've never seen a 0.000 ever.
Same here. I've never seen it.
Absolutely incredible, which means that place was basically split by a 4th decimal place. Otherwise, it would not have put you in first or second. It would have probably just crashed the game, I would believe.
Yeah, no, the proper dice to the finish line there.
Well, I definitely got that on the stream, so you guys can go back and have a look. So thank you, everyone. Great racing for all. It definitely was an amazing show this evening. Lots of close racing, and you'll even be surprised of how close it was from that 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th further down. It was also crazy racing there between Sly Pete, Mefeza, as well as Ronaldo got involved there as well. absolutely awesome. So guys, thank you very much. Really looking forward to next week, and I can't believe how much I actually missed this. Sprint racing is
man.
awesome.
Cheers, guys. Well raced.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers. So guys, if you have joined us on the stream and you do want to get involved, you can go check us out on the SARCO website. That is sarcoracing.co.za. All the details are there of how to join up. We do race on a Monday and a Thursday. We do live stream our races when I am around and when my computer is behaving, which it has been. So that is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget, Monday we will be streaming again. That will be round number 5 of our World Tour Challenge, and that is going to be an absolute crack of a race, because now all of a sudden we start getting to the bigger boys, and now things are going to start getting a little intense. Go check out the website. You can go see exactly what we're going to be racing. And guys, until then, all I can say